Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. We hope you enjoyed our poster session. Now we would like to start with our first keynote about the overlooked impact of social advocacy groups on sustainable development. And we would like to invite Princess Nof bint Mohammed, the CEO of King Khalid Foundation, and Zulma Lopez to moderate this keynote.
Is it working? Yeah. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. I will start by introducing our presenter, Princess Nof bin Mohammed bin Abdullah. She is the CEO of the King Khalid Foundation, one of the leading nonprofit organizations in the country. She leads programs towards the economic and social empowerment of vulnerable populations in the country. The Foundation's goal is to create equal opportunities for all Saudis by maximizing the impact of NGOs, encourage national companies to adopt environmental and social sustainability practices, invest in projects that increase the employability skills of disadvantaged groups, produce evidence-based research, and provide policy solutions to Saudi decision makers to help build a viable social protection system in the country. She also leads the Foundation's global through leadership around the promotion of the UN Sustainable Development Goals and protecting inclusive growth. In 2020, she chaired the Civil 20 Engagement Group, one of the G20 engagement groups representing the perspectives and voices of global civil society to G20 leaders. Under her leadership, the C20 membership grow in inclusivity to include strong representation from the Global South, resulting in the C20 hosting the biggest gathering of civil society organizations in the history of the G20, with more than 1,500 civil societies organizations attending the summit. Princess Nof is a long-standing philanthropist and a strong supporter of the empowerment of the nonprofit sector in the country. She serves as the chairperson of the Saudi ADHD Society and a member of the Al-Nahda Society for Women. She has also been a very generous supporter of various Saudi nonprofits, including the Voice of Down Syndrome Society and Madwa Society. And she is also a member of the National Center for Mental Health Promotion. Welcome, Princess Nof. It is an honor to host you today. And the floor is yours.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Zelma, for this introduction, and thank you, SYS, for all you've done and this wonderful assembly here. So if you begin with the speech? Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Allahumma salli wa sallam ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. First of all, I want to say that I am honored to have been invited to speak here today. Such occasions bring with them a sense of opportunity because words inform beliefs that we hope will bring about actions. And more specifically, an occasion pertaining to youth brings a further feeling of responsibility because of our younger generation who are to take up the mantle of care and are the custodians of this still beautiful planet, alhamdulillah. It's very important to us at the King Khalid Foundation that our work results in genuine impact and that our dreams must turn into realities. And to ensure that we did do this and did make a difference, we underwent an impact assessment of our programs. And for want of a better description, an audit of what effects we have created in the kingdom, intended or otherwise. And I just want to start by emphasizing the utter importance of impact when it comes to advocacy. And most of what I want to say today is really all to do with this matter. Advocacy is not about the creative part of a campaign or simply the good feeling of getting people together for a cleanup meet once a year. No, the goal of social advocacy should be a lot more than just creating a feel-good event on this day or that. So getting social advocacy right requires understanding that advocacy is not an end, but it is a means to effect change. So I put forward here is that social advocacy work will not be overlooked if it has impact, and the greater the impact, the harder to ignore. Creating progress on the scale needed for global sustainability calls for courage and a lifetime of commitment. It actually requires a beyond lifetime of commitment. And the whole sustainability paradigm demands, almost by definition, that we worked on projects that will continue when we have passed away. So sustainability itself must be sustained. And the danger with advocacy work is that because the results lie some way off in the future, our ability to apportion credit or blame can fail. And having our vision set so much also in the future must not also come at the expense of reflection on and accountability for the past or our present. And so that our words become others' deeds, it is of paramount importance that we do this correctly. And in advocacy work, how can we ensure that our words actually will bring about the desired actions we want of others? So let's suppose that social advocacy for sustainable development is failing. And there are critics, and skeptics who will be quite happy if we fail in this. So why might social advocacy for sustainable development fail? And to answer this, we need to critically think about key words themselves, advocacy and sustainability. So advocacy first. What does advocacy actually mean? Advocacy is speaking out in support of an idea, a need, a person, or a group. And in this digital age, anyone can run really an advocacy campaign without leaving their desks or indeed leaving their couches. All of us can advocate with nothing more than your phone in your hand. And we all do this, maybe some more than others. And the soft or grassroots end of advocacy afforded by social media requires nothing more than a tweet, an Instagram, or even a meme. But this is little more than conscious stroking, I would say. And if I'm more skeptical, it's just like for likes on Instagram. So advocacy that is underfunded, this is what I'm trying to say, advocacy that is underfunded, unfocused, is unimpactful. Advocacy that is reactive rather than proactive, that is one that lacks a clear message or an agenda or a focus, will more than likely fail. And I know this from personal experience. So let's move on to sustainability. What about sustainability? It sounds important, it sounds noble, and it sounds impactful. But what does sustainability actually mean? There are 17 sustainability development goals in the United Nations Vision 2030 agenda with 169 targets. So when we talk about sustainability, most people now think of finance. But as we all here know, sustainability refers to cultures, people, environment, biodiversity, as well as the finances. But what becomes clear from this is that sustainability can mean many things to many people, and because of this fact, sustainability goals can lose focus and become muddied, and this in turn allows the detractors and skeptics to play their game and weaken our campaigns. So let me try to address these two pitfalls in social advocacy for sustainable development. First, the advocacy problem. To ensure our efforts are not squandered, we must advocate to the right people. And the worst mistake is to advocate to fellow advocates, which is ironically what I'm doing here today. So what I mean is advocacy groups need to advocate to the right organizations and sectors and people. It is the role of the nonprofit sector to inform and influence those in the private and government sectors. And to cut a very long story short, the most effective advocacy ends up in legislation. Effective advocacy ends up as a change in the attitudes and behaviors of corporations, of government ministries, and of society as a whole. And effective advocacy results in the quantifiable reduction of a negative externality or an increase in a positive externality. And the social sector must galvanize the support and actions of those in power, the power to effect real change. And in our context, we need to focus our efforts not only towards green tops, but a lot more must be done for grassroots. In youth advocacy, this may seem difficult and if not daunting, but civil society organizations are here to help you, and you should use them because they can give you access to networks and to expertise you need to ensure that your efforts are worthwhile. Now, if you move on to sustainability, the problem of clarity and focus I've mentioned is not just a multiplicity problem, but a metrics problem. And coming back to this idea of accountability, we need to be able to measure sustainability effects. Sustainability must be quantifiable if we are going to be able to assess our impact through advocacy. And in a way, concepts with clarity are those that can be measured. And how might sustainability be measured? Well, this is already happening, and despite the controversy around it these days, ESG and other metrics such as SASB can be used by the public and advocates to hold publicly owned businesses accountable. And these types of criteria and metrics can well be applied to other enterprises, public, private, and also in the social sector. So I think we can thrive together. And what might this mean? And I think since I'm in KAUST, I will assume I'm talking mostly to scientists. So I can ask you this: where are your advocacy energy spent? Are you advocating for learning that will help your local community? Are you unpacking the science to make it understandable and actionable? And if so, then we are all in a good place. Or otherwise, are we just talking heads, spreading fear and creating more anxiety in the world, especially for the young who are suffering from anxiety due to all these climate issues? But I hope you feel the same way as I do and that this is not what we're really about. So in the words from the Quran we read, هو أنشأكم من الأرض واستعمركم فيها, and also ولا تلقوا بأيديكم إلى التهلكة وأحسنوا إن الله يحب المحسنين. This is from Surah Al-Baqarah. So we must work together to build a world on this beautiful planet, because not only is it a moral duty, it is a sacred duty for us. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that thought-provoking words. I hope that many people have questions, but I will start with some questions that we prepared for you. So in the latest years, the awareness about sustainability and the importance of taking care of our natural resources has been reinforced more and more. However, we wonder, do we have enough advocates for sustainability?
In short, no. Can there be enough advocates for good? There is never enough advocates for good. And I think here we're still at the beginning of having, understanding the role of advocacy. We do it naturally. Our local communities do it, but it is unplanned, unstructured, and the things we need to be advocating for now are quite different. But there is interest. We saw it this year, this National Environment Day. We saw all the organizations, a lot of youth that are responding towards us. And I think the SGI and all the different changes that are coming in that are quite exciting is what is pushing this. So I'm hopeful that we will get there.
Okay, next question is, what would you say are the most important roles for advocates?
Well, for advocates, they need to be clear, they need to have an agenda, they need to have measurements, they need to be knowing what they want to do, and they need to understand what it is they're advocating for. And it has to be also localized. So if I'm talking about environment, or if one aspect, let's say, of environment, I need to understand the effects it has here. I cannot get a solution that works somewhere else. So we have to be very local in our understanding and making it known also. So our role is to make public aware of the changes that need to take place. And also, more importantly, we need to carry the public's voice in a way that is heard by people that make decisions.
Yeah, actually, we were talking before. I was telling how is the role of activists in my country, and I was asking you for advice, and that was your answer. Like, the context is very important, not duplicating about what someone did in other place, but understanding the context.
And understanding your needs. I cannot duplicate or find a solution that might work here, but it is not the need. Is this the need? Is this the most pressing need?
How effective do you feel young people are when it comes to commitment to sustainability? And more importantly, how effective are the institutions in supporting young people's efforts?
I think in a country such as ours, we have no alternative but supporting the young. They're what, 70% of the population. So we're in trouble if we don't support them. But I see there's a lot of very nice energy, a lot of desire to create real change. At the foundation, we have the SAHM initiative, which is we work with university students. It's a hackathon. And we present them with a problem. And once you present them with a problem and try to help them find solutions, they jump with it. They go, they're fully committed. And some of the initiatives that came out of that for solutions, so environmental solutions, they wanted to take it further. They wanted to take it to businesses, and there was some interest also. So I think the energy is there, the will is there, the education is there. I think it's a very positive time.
So other than this hackathon, which other initiatives have the King Khalid Foundation done to help improve awareness on sustainability issues?
Okay. So the foundation has been in existence since 2001, and the environment, just because of our namesake, King Khalid was, one of his main concerns was people and the environment. So this has always been paramount to us. But formally and properly since, I think 2000, let's say 11, 12 years ago, we started the Responsible Competitiveness Award, which was geared towards the private sector and big industry. It changed to the Sustainability Awards because it became more relevant. And the reason that we did that, it's not usual for a foundation to create an award for big conglomerates and companies, but we truly believe in the importance of sustainability and the ESGs. So that was a big thing, and the award, it's under the auspices of the King, and it has become a very important event because of the sustainability issues that go in it. The award is almost the excuse to work on sustainability. We've also contributed to the Saudi Guidelines for Sustainability with the Minister of Interior, and also the ASG initiative with Tadawul. We've also contributed to the Saudi VNR in 2018. All our programs, all our training workshops, we incorporate sustainability when we're talking to our beneficiaries, whether they be social entrepreneurs or if they're the grants that we give to nonprofits to create jobs. We try to ensure that the jobs and the training they give them is sustainable for their futures. And now, sorry, I will continue now, sorry, because I'm forgetting about the present, thinking of the past. We recently launched the Saudi Green Initiatives, which is the first green grant, I will say, and we're extremely excited about this. We've had good response so far. It is where, I don't say piloting, but we are piloting. And we've opened it up more than our usual grants because we want to see what is coming to us. We want to encourage not only social entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs, we want to encourage other foundations and other institutions to adopt green initiatives and to think about the environment in all their funding or their investments.
This is more related with the context that you already talked a little bit about it, but how do you think Saudi compare with elsewhere regarding sustainability awareness?
We have, as part of, you're going to be your advocates here already, you need to do a lot of work on that. We again also did a small pilot, and only 14% were aware of the SDGs. And this is not only a local Saudi problem. Most places in the world, depending on your education or depending on if you are a grantee or a grantor, very few people, unfortunately, know what the SDGs are and what the role is, and the importance, more than that, the importance of SDGs.
Well, I think this is such a good opportunity to inspire all these young people that we have today. So this is a very simple and important question. How does one become a social environmental advocate?
again, you understand the problem, you explain it well, you identify your audience, you identify what you want for them, and you need to have always a call to action. And you need to make it easy. You cannot make it hard. I mean, nobody's going to get me to ride the bike in Riyadh in the summer anywhere, so I can, so you have to understand, again, the context and what is possible. There are lots of things that are possible, small adjustments in behavior. But again, it always goes back to localizing and speaking and then bringing back the voice of people to any decision maker, whether it be in the social sector, the private sector, or with government.
Okay, I have just one last question. So in the audience, if you guys have questions, please come close to the mic. So my last question is there specific ways that we can contribute to the advocacy work of the King Khalid Foundation? We as SYS, as Students for Sustainability in KAUST, and as many organizations that are happening through this event that are, I mean, in our organization, we are providing guidelines to other Saudi universities to create also their sustainability groups there. So how can these small groups that are rising, that are young, how can we collaborate with the organization, with the institution?
You can reach out to them, but more importantly, what you can do as scientific organizations is really unpack the science. I recently met with a very nice organization in the US, and their role is advocacy, but advocacy for the public and getting information out there. And they work with scientists. They take the science, they turn it into normal language for the layman and the layperson, and they disseminate it. Once you know that there is a problem, most people, not only youth, adults, everybody are not aware of the environmental issues that we are facing right now. We're not aware of the number of dangerous hot days where it has become normal. It's become normal that it is dusty. It's become normal that we need to raise the air conditioning strength. This isn't normal. We think it's normal that all our kids have allergies and asthma. It's absolutely not normal, but but we're not aware that this is environmental. So yes, unpack the science and reach out, and organizations and foundations such as ours are very keen to have young youth scientists disseminate and help us spread the word.
Okay, you can go ahead with your question.
Thank you for the inspiring speech. My name is Sabah Al-Khaldi, and I'm a reliability engineer from Saudi Aramco. Regarding inclusivity, my question is, how can we include maintenance and construction workers and operations to adopt sustainability practices? They might not be with us today, but they are working on the ground. They are the ones who implement actions, and they're the heroes. They're the ones who are first-line defense when it comes to heavy equipment. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think they're the most important because they interact with all these issues that we face. And if they are not, there's a 0 point. So if we don't start from there, everything builds wrong. There are organizations that are specific, it becomes very technical, but there are civil society organizations that specialize in such matters, and you need to talk to the right advisors, and it needs to be part of your policy and procedures. So you will need to have a talk with your management, with your HR, to ensure that all these elements and aspects and all these people are included within the discussion, and they need to understand from you where the problems lie. It can't come from on top. They're the ones that are working and see what doesn't work, and they're the ones that will know what works. So it's essential that they're part of the conversation.
Thank you.
Shukran.
Yes.
Hello. Thank you, Princess Noof, for your great words. I'm Khawla, physics graduate from Qasim University. And my question is regarding to anxiety. how can we protect the environment without being anxious about the future of climate change, for example, or global warming? I mean, without concern of the bad consequences of these phenomenon, because I think that anxiety is a great poster that makes us good defenders for our planet.
Thank you. That's a very important question. As you know, anxiety is on the rise, but we can look at anxiety as a call to action. It is your body telling you that there's something wrong that we need to do. And I think if you look at the small things that you can do, and I understand, I'm myself at the foundation, we're trying to reduce our carbon footprint and the use of a lot of the materials, and it's very difficult. We can't, I used to try to recycle. I started drinking out of glass bottles only. I wanted to recycle glass bottles. I had to send them to the Eastern Province to have, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm sending the glass. What's my carbon footprint? Just getting the glass from Riyadh to there. If I want to recycle paper, I have to, it was before, I don't know what the case is now, I had to rent a trash can so they will pick it up. So we can do smaller things. We can support social enterprises. Maybe there are recyclers. There are different. So there are the little things that you can do on a daily basis, and you reduce your waste. You know that you've done something, and you've done what you can do. There are things that are legislation is not in your hands unless you are working with government and you are pressing for that issue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. I have a question for Your Highness. It's obviously important for advocates to understand the mission and the problem they're advocating for. But from your experience, how important is to understand people who are being advocated to? How important is that?
It's the most important. If I'm not mistaken, you won't understand how to speak to.
Yeah, how to approach them and how that's impactful on advocating the message. How to understand.
Can you
them.
come a bit closer to the mic?
How important is the impact of understanding who are we advocating to, how their mentality, how they're living, how they're approaching the problem? Is that important in reaching a meaningful advocacy?
Akid, it is the most important. We have to. First of all, our discussion here in English doesn't work. That's number one. If I change to Arabic, please. اللغة الواحد يخاطب الناس بلغته وبلغتهم. نربط الشيء اللي احنا بننادي فيه بقيمنا. أنا دائما أحكي عن الSDGs وأقول إحنا كمسلمين كلها مربوطة بقيمنا الإسلامية وقيمنا العربية. مش بس الإسلامية. فبس لما تيجي تقول SDG وتيجي تقول فوق البحر تحت البحر أمن وسلام ووئام، ما تعني للشخص اللي يبغى يتوظف، ولكن لما يعرف، ولا اللي ابنه مريض، لكن لما يعرف إنه والله ابني مريض لأنه البيئة صاير فيها كذا، هذا صاير في كذا، طبعا إيش الدور اللي أنا أسويه؟ فهي هذه إنك أنت تربط أهدافك بقيمك بمبادئك بمجتمعك اللي أنت تخاطبه. ما أجي أقول الواحد عنده سيارة يلا راكب أروح جيب لي سيارة على الكهرباء ولا ما ينفع. لازم نكون بخطوات صغيرة ومنطقية ونعرف إحنا مين نخاطب.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. My name is Hajar and I'm a computer science student from Arfat University. Can I shift to Arabic as well? شكرا أميرة نوف على كلامك المشجع صراحة. ذكرت نقطة مهمة واللي هي نقطة الوعي، وقلت إنه نحتاج نوعي الناس أكثر. سؤالي هو إحنا كشباب كيف ممكن نساهم في نشر الوعي؟ وكيف بدي المساهمة كيف ممكن تنعكس علينا إحنا كشباب وكأفراد وتنعكس على المجتمع ككل؟ شكراً.
تبدي شكراً على السؤال وعلى اهتمامك. تبدي بمجتمعك الصغير، يعني مجتمعك في الجامعة اللي حواليك. تبدي بتوفير معلومات. لما الواحد يعرف المعلومة يبدأ يفكر ويبغى، يعني واحد ماشي على طريق وهو عارف أنه خطأ ولا عارف أنه هو بيضر غيره. إذا إماطة الأذى عن الطريق فيها صدقة. فيعني الواحد يبغى يسوي الكويس اللي ينفع مجتمعه وينفع نفسه، ولكن لازم لها نفس ولازم لها دراسة. ما ينفع. أنا كنت حكيت تجربة فاشلة، كان لها دخل بالماسكس. أول ما كورونا جت طالعة من بيتي لقيت ماسك معلق في الشجرة، يعني طاير مع الهواء. فحطينا، قلت لو سمحتوا سووا لي هذه. هي واحدة بوست واحد نزل، ما فاد، ما حد، حتى أصحابي ما شافوا ولا طالعوا ولا قالوا شيء. فلازم لها خطة، لازم هدف، لازم لما أنت تبغي توعي الناس بشيء يكون في كمان طلب، في أنت ما تقولي والله كذا، يعني القضية كذا وبس. كيف أنت ممكن تفيدي وكيف ممكن تغيري من حاجة، يعني على قولهم call to action يكون في كل شيء تسوونه، ويكون لها مدة زمنية والنفس وتتحملي.
شكرا.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Rais Ali. I work with a company who works on sustainable solutions here at KAUST. We are a startup company. We did implement our water saving solutions in a large scale in KAUST houses, around 3,500 houses and apartments altogether, and almost 20 five-star hotels in the kingdom as well. So collectively, we helped the kingdom to save around 1.5 million liter water per day. Okay, so as a startup, we are not visible, and we are about to get into the marketing phase. Until now, we were doing like proving ourselves. Saving water can be comfortable as well. So we targeted the five-star facilities only. So for those startups who work in sustainable solutions, whom at least proved themselves implemented in a large scale, how can we approach the government sectors who are interested in implementing sustainable solutions, or non-profit institutions like Khalid Foundation, like what you are heading, like? So, or how can we get into the larger scale of government institutions? I face a problem that even when we offer the institutions, we can give the devices for free, and they save water. And when I started, I was an employee here in KAUST, and I resigned from KAUST, a comfortable job, and did this startup. And at that time, in 2016, the water was free here in the kingdom, literally free. Okay, so people were mocking me like, Rais, are you crazy enough to advocate for a free stuff to save? Nobody saved. And in 2018-19, now the water price goes high and people are in need of it. But still, as a B2B, people are hesitant to take decisions. I don't know what is the problem. Like everybody say about sustainability, nobody takes an action on ground in a lot of ways. Even I offered a few big organizations that I give free, still they didn't take actions. So how can we convince the bigger organizations?
Well, sometimes things that are free are not appreciated. Maybe you should have.
It's
you should have charged for your advice. I think there's Munshaat maybe, and there are different organizations. I think KAUST would be able to help, or the new Giga projects. I think they have. I'm not sure. I think they will have arms that will help. Maybe there's somebody else here that can answer what can be done from the government sector. I know that they're working on funding, sources of funding for social enterprises. I think a fund will be created and different tools used to find funding. The problem is, you're right, the problem is with social enterprises, the profit takes a long time to come in, and so we are really looking for patient capital. And I think that will come through the pipeline. And this is an issue not only you face, a lot of social entrepreneurs face.
So our offer was not just free. It's like like energy performance contracts. Like we give the devices for free. You save water, and you pay us our money, and for almost the entire lifetime of the product. It's a saving for them as well as for the environment. Our basic motto: why we are doing it, to save water.
I think, I'm sure there'd be somebody else that can answer this question better for me, but I think your time is coming, because now with all the foreign investment coming in, companies are being asked about their ESG reports. So they weren't before. They were doing it because they wanted to for themselves, and then they stopped. But now banks are being asked about it. Businesses are being asked about it. So your time is coming, inshallah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we have time for 3 questions more, and then we can wrap up.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lynn Ghassan. I'm from Yambo University College. My question is regarding sustainability. How can we convince people about the importance of sustainability on their lives and on the quality of life in general?
I think, again, you choose the aspect in sustainability. As I said, there are many, many different parts of it. You choose the aspect that you like or that is closest to your heart, and you advocate for it, and you stick with it, and you make sure your message is clear and focused. And you just have to keep repeating it, showing and giving them the message in different ways, not only one way. Talk to a person whenever you go to any conference, any meeting. You have maybe a little leaflet information that you pass on as information, verbal or written, but it needs to be constant and it needs to be planned.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And there are courses you can take on advocacy, and I'm sure at the foundation we're very happy to help. We've had advocacy workshops before, and I'm sure we'll be able to do one again, mostly for institutions, but we'll see what we can do.
My name is Fatima Darwish, and my question for you is, after conveying these messages to people and advocating, what action can we do to provide our societies with sustainable options that are actually sustainable? For example, a lot of sustainable options like materials are imported, and the carbon footprint for this is really high. So what action can we do to provide our societies with sustainable options, not just advocate and not give them actual options?
I think, again, if we look at the past, how our grandparents and their grandparents lived, and all over the world. Nothing was disposable before. So there are little things you can do. Instead of using a plastic bag, you can use a bag made of khus. But you have to keep going at it and work. I mean, maybe this is the role of scientists, for them to find alternatives for you here that you market.
Thank you very much.
It takes a lot of time, but we will get there, inshallah.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Princess Nov. It was an honor to hear you speak.
Thank you.
So my question is, the state of economy is always an obstacle when it comes to sustainability, especially in developing countries. So do you think that sustainability advocacy relates to economy, and does the economic state affect the way we advocate?
Yes, it pertains to almost every economy. The problem is international now that you see with the sustainability standards is that some internationals are no longer giving to developing countries because they're afraid. So you have to be brave. We have to maybe change our mentality on what profitability is. And we need to stop also looking at just, and this is something we called for, GDP as a measure of wealth. We need to include our health, our environment, and have this be a big part of the conversation. So it's not the per capita income only. You've got the quality of life people here today, so you can talk to them about that also. And again, we need to advocate for sustainability. As also for everybody here who said, what can we do? There are organizations, there are NGOs out there help them, sign up with them, if they are scientific or if they are social in any of the universities, support them, join their action, and we will see the change come.
Thank you so much.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. ببتدي باسمي، أنا طالب محمد عثمان الجهني من طلاب نيوم في جامعة الأمير فهد بن سلطان في تبوك. السؤال يخص النقطة الأخيرة اللي ذكرتيها يا سمو الأميرة، اللي هو أنه الأورجنايزيشنز، بعض الأشخاص يصدق نفس اللي أنت قلتيه، أن نساعد الأورجنايزيشنز وندخل معهم، لكن أحياناً ما توصل هذه للفئة المطلوبة. الإعلانات والدعايات تبع الكل organization ما توصل للفئة المطلوبة اللي المفروض توصل لها.
أنا يمكن نظرتي تختلف في هذا النقطة، لأنه إذا أنت تشوف الحين متطلبات الحوكمة، الجمعيات الخيرية، إذا أنت رايح الجمعية خيرية مسجلة المفروض أنك ما تخاف. في جزء من المبلغ قد يروح للأمور الإدارية، وهذا مثل العاملون عليها، فهي حتى في الزكاة مسموحة. والمفترض كمان أنه يعني الواحد ينظر لها كمان كجزء من تبرعه للجمعية اللي أنت حتسند لها أعمال الخير حقتك، يعني إذا فكرت فيها. لكن هي إن شاء الله أنها توصل الحوكمة كل ما والشفافية كل ما لها تزيد في الجمعيات. الشفافية زادت، يعني الجمعية لما أنت تيجي تصرف شيك واحد، ما في شيء إلا بالشيكات، الحين صار شوية أحسن، يعني يمكن 3-4 تواقيع عليها لما تروح، فالواحد مفروض ما يخاف، بالعكس يعني إذا أنت شايف إنه في شيء في جمعية ترتكب خطأ.
لا أنا مقصدي إنها ما توصل للفئة المطلوبة اللي المفروض يتغير عليها.
لا المفترض الحين إنه في مشرفين اجتماعيين يروحون ويدرسون، غالبا يدرسون الحالة، وأظن الحين هي مع جهات مختلفة تقدر تتحقق من الحالة هل هي فعلا مستفيدة، وتقدر بتصير أظن قريب تعرف إذا هي تروح لكم جهة ثانية موجودة. ولكنها بإذن الله أنها توصل، لأنه دائما بينزلوا على الميدان وبيشوفوا البيوت كلها. أغلب الجمعيات ما تعطي بس أي أحد يجيها، تروح وتدرس الحالة، يكون في دراسة واضحة للحالة بالدخل، إذا عليه ديون، إذا يعني بالهوية، يعني كل شيء مدروس إن شاء الله.
شكرا لك.
Okay. Thank you so much. I would like to close with this sentence that you just said, like the previous question, how we should change, and it's very important to change our mentality and the importance that we give to profit and to balance things, like what is more important. Thank you so much for your time and for this inspiring speech that you gave, for answering the questions of the audience, and thank you for your time and your support in this conference.
Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone. Iman, I'd like to say thank you. I met Iman a few years ago and she was just starting, and I think this was just a dream where she was, and I remember keeping her name because I thought this would be somebody who would be talking to with regards to sustainability. So I'm very proud of what you've done here. شكرا للجميع وشكرا لطاقتكم وإيجابيتكم وتفاعلكم.
Thank you, Princess Nov and Zulma.